Hello, everyone. My name is Justin. I will be your mediator today. Can I get your name, ma'am? Jane Doe? Okay. And your name, sir? John Doe? All right. Is that all right if I call you Jane and John? All right. Well, welcome and thank you for coming to Western Carolina Mediation. I am here to help you guys get across the finish line. And what I mean by the finish line is a mutually acceptable agreement. As a facilitator, I will remain neutral and I will not take sides. If at any time you feel that I am taking sides, please communicate to me these feelings and I will correct them. I am here to help you to have a productive communication session. But remember, I am not a judge nor jury. I can only make recommendations. Today's session will be 2 hours. But if we need any more time, we can easily arrange for some more time. So to start off, I want to discuss about the process of mediation. And to me, I prefer to call it a journey. And the journey starts by having each one of you, one at a time, discuss the situation that brought us here today. After each party describes what has happened, we will then work up together what specific issues we have. From the next step, once we have figured out where those issues come from, we will generate and examine possible solutions. And then finally, once we have filtered through those possible solutions, we will write up a final agreement that both parties have agreed upon. Remember, all information is private and confidential. Anything said here remains here at the table. Here is 2 pieces of paper. I have one for you and one for you, as well as 2 pens. These are here so you can make any notes, anything you need that is said that you want to remember, or any questions, go ahead and write them down. So we can also, if there's an issue where you want to take me aside, rather have a private meeting with me, we can call a caucus and you can take me aside and I will have a private meeting. Remember, I will also have the same amount of time separated for the other party. Now we're down to the consent for mediation. And this here is the consent form. I'm going to read it to you and go from there. So the undersigned parties hereby agree to have mediation services provided by Campus Mediation Program, hereafter referred to as CMP, for their dispute concerns. The rules of it is number 1, mediation rules. CMP will administer the mediation in accordance with its mediation rules. All parties recognize that mediation is a voluntary settlement negotiation and that the mediator is not a judge and has no authority to force a settlement on the parties. The parties may voluntarily agree in writing to a settlement that they consider fair and in their best interest. 2, mediator. The parties agree that CMP will select a mediator in accordance with CMP's rules. The parties recognize that the mediator will be an employee or student of WCU or the CMP. Number 3, fees. You will not be charged for this session. No fees will be charged. Consultation with attorneys. The parties recognize that the mediator is not giving legal counsel or analyzing anyone's legal rights. If the parties believe it is in their best interest, they may seek legal representation. 5, private sessions, caucuses. The mediator may hold brief sessions with one party. These private sessions are intended to improve the mediator's understanding of the parties' positions. Information gained in a caucus is confidential unless the party agrees to have it brought up in joint session. Confidentiality. The parties recognize that the mediation is confidential and that the settlement negotiations and any actions taken in this mediation process are inadmissible in any litigation of their dispute to maximize extent allowed by law. The parties specifically agree they will not subpoena, dispose, or otherwise attempt to require the mediator to testify or produce records, notes, or work product in any future proceedings. There are exceptions to the confidentiality rule. The following must be reported: child or elderly abuse, plans for future crimes involving serious bodily harm or death, a second offense of a previous meditated dispute, which will be referred to the Department of Student Judicial Affairs, crimes or allegations of the Code of Student Conduct committed during the mediation, and past crimes that must be reported on the clear report with the exception of alcohol or drug use, theft of property valued less than $250, or battery with no injury. Number 7, failure to reach agreement. The parties recognize that the mediator's role is to facilitate communication between the parties. The CMP is not responsible for the future of the parties to reach agreement. The parties understand that if they do not reach agreement in a case referred to the CMP by the DSJA, then the case will be referred back to the DSJA. Other proceedings? The parties agree that they will not request the campus mediation program mediators, volunteers, staff, or employees to testify in any subsequent hearings or court proceedings. Failure to follow through on any agreement reached during mediation. The parties understand that if they do not follow through on an agreement reached during mediation, a case will be referred back to DSJA. Number 10, partial invalidity. In the event that any provision of this agreement is invalid, the parties agree that all remaining provisions shall be deemed to be in full force and effect. So if you could please, if you have any questions, no? All right, if you could please sign here and date, as well as you, sir. Thank you. So now that we got the consent form out of the way, we're going to go over a couple ground rules. So, number 1, one person will talk at a time with no interruptions. And that means that when you are discussing your situation, you will not interrupt her, as well as she will not interrupt you while you are going over it. If that is said that the other party does not agree, this is where I have this paper. Write down what you don't agree, make a note, and we will go back over it. Initially, I would like you guys to talk directly to me. I just feel that it eases the tension when you're able to discuss with me the issue rather than the party we're here with. No weapons. Can't have any weapons up in here. If you guys have any knives, guns, anything like that, if you please turn them over, I will get them back to you after the session is over. No? All right. If you could please turn your cell phones off, I will join you in this. We're going to go ahead and put our cell phones in the middle of the table. If you do have an emergency, we can leave them turned on vibrate, but it's much nicer if we can just communicate between us and to have no outside sources. Remember, we are all adults. We need to be polite and work through this situation. We're here to figure out a way to solve the issues at hand. Are there any questions before we move further?